Welcome back, everybody. This is Mog on Mog's Cast, and we're starting off on a launch up to the Mun. We are going to drop off a Rover and its delivery vessel to the Mun. Now, the delivery vessel is actually designed to be able to bring it back up to the to the orbital station around the Mun and be able to come back down. It's got 4 decently sized tanks with a couple of little rocket engines on it, so in a pod for one person, one Kerbal. That's what we're going to be dropping off. Now, as you can see, this looks a little different, the atmosphere and everything. I downloaded a couple of mods, and we got some volumetric clouds and all that now, and I actually added another layer out about the orbit of the station. Give or take, so I was kind of messing with some stuff, and you might see it change color, because about halfway through this launch, I was about to say halfway through this episode, about halfway through this launch, I actually changed it to just a white color, as you can see right there. So yeah, I was just messing around with the cloud cover. I may shut it off because I noticed some weird issues that you guys will see later in this video too. Some weird texturing issues, I think texturing is the right word, on the planet and on the cloud layer. So it was just a little odd, caused some issues that I didn't quite like. I really like how it looks in the normal settings, so I may end up deleting that extra layer and see if it goes back to looking nice by itself. But as you can see, yeah, it's just a further out little cloud layer. So there's clouds above and kind of near our station when we're docked at. I thought it was a cool effect, but it causes some weird issues on the dark side of the planet. Anyway, we're getting up into our orbit with our launcher here. You saw the last ejection stage of our asparagus staging setup there kind of broke up on our ship, which we got lucky and didn't actually have any damage caused to the rest of our vessel. But unfortunately, we were unable to recover the last of that 2 stages there to get some money back, because I do have a mod installed called Stage Recovery, I think is all it's called, and it allows you to kind of recover parts that have like parachutes and things like that attached to them that theoretically could be planned to actually return safely if it was planned enough to like lower their speed. It's based on their overall weight versus how many like parachutes they have or whatever, so that it can kind of, you know, factor all that in, so it's a little more legitimate. Anyway, we're getting ready to do our final our burn out toward the Mun. We've done our circularization burn. And as you can see, yeah, this is the issues that I'm talking about. This weird like texturing on like the oceans and land. Actually, I think it's just on land. I think those dark spots are actually ocean. And then as you can see there in the map view, it's also a little wonky. But it is what it is. It's kind of like a first attempt. I really like it otherwise. I think it looks nice. But if we could fix those other goofy issues, it'd be great. Because look at that. Just weird. Oh well, though. It's another cool thing, though, is you can add these like cloud layers to any planet you want. I could put clouds on the Mun, or Minmus, or the friggin' Sun Kerbal. I mean, I could. I'm probably not gonna, but we'll see. I might put some in Lathe. I think that'd be cool. It's another planet with oxygen, so I thought that'd be cool. Or maybe Duna. It's got oxygen, right? It's got a very, very thin atmosphere. So, okay, not oxygen, that's what I meant, is atmosphere. It's got a thin atmosphere. So we're about to come into contact with the Mun here. But the initial trajectory there, like our actual orbital lines, kind of wigged out here and didn't quite show me. I was setting up for a new node here when we actually came into contact with the Mun. So we got our encounter there just fine, like I thought we were going to get, and then it just, you know, wigged out a little bit. So we're getting all set up here. We're going to be preparing for our circularization burn here to pull us into orbit and drop us down to the surface of the Mun. Now, this has been the first time I've actually done a rover delivery in a long time, or built a rover at all. So, it's definitely been a little weird. It's kind of like a little longer one. You'll see it underneath there. I like its length, but it's it definitely took some weirdness. I haven't built one in a while that looked nice, so bear with me on my designs. But we're coming down. We've still got our orbital stage here and our delivery stage on the bottom there with those 4 wings out. I put those kind of wings on there to kind of provide anchor points that were a little further away from the center to actually provide a bit more stabilization. Using the strength of the triangle, basically. Setting up our burn nodes here so that we can plan ahead our route to land down on the surface. We got a first burn will bring us down into a low collision course, basically, with the surface, but before we actually get down to the surface, we're going to be doing a second burn to bring ourselves into a direct fall path, so that we can plan our landing pretty close to how we want to land it. And we're going to be coming in on the light side of the moon, so that'll be good. actually have some light to land with. Readjusting my spot here so that we can land where we wanted to before the mun turned on us a bit as we were coming around it. Because this does take time, and the planets and moons will kind of rotate underneath you while you're moving around them in orbit. So as you can see, we're getting all set up. We're coming in, we're doing our first burn here. You can watch that kind of be coming down here. And there it is. Finishing off that burn, cutting that out. Looking good to me. Boom, that looks good. Now we're coming in for our second burn. And we're going to be repositioning just a bit to make sure that everything's good. Now, you may notice in my map view there, I can't actually see where my craft is along the line, so I'm having to rely on setting nodes and watching timers, which is unfortunate. And I think I may have a solution for it. Somebody mentioned that I may just have it turned off in my map view. There may be like an option to actually shut that kind of stuff off. So that could be totally what I did, and I just am not smart about it. Coming down now. We've done our burn. We're coming down. We're going to be landing on the flat part between those two craters there. At least that's what we're aiming for. We're gonna have to readjust a little bit because we're coming down kind of right there on the lip, but here we go. We're just readjusting there, just like that. Just a nice little quick burn to push us a little further away so we start falling toward the center of it a bit easier. And then doing a retro burn a bit, slow us down, as well as putting us on a direct fall trajectory. And we just ran out of fuel in our stage there, so we're gonna go ahead and detach it. Incoming. There it is. Bye-bye, stage. You did well. Now that one we're not going to be able to save. There's no atmosphere here to trigger the parachute, so that thing's just going to blow up here in a moment or two. You'll actually hear it hit the ground here pretty quick. In fact, right about now... There it was. Engaging our engines a bit more to bring us in for that final descent. We've still got about 60 meters per second to burn off of Delta V, but we're getting close. And it's burning quick. You can see our shadow coming down here too. Good way to gauge it if you are not landing at sea level on an orbital body, celestial body. Just watch your shadow. Make sure you're landing on the light side of the planet, of your target, and watch your shadow. That gives you a good indication of how high up you still are. And here we go. We're gonna go ahead and we're pushing out all of the solar cells that we can that aren't going to interfere with disengaging the rover from the landing module here and getting our electricity generation going. We're not going to eject the one, or not going to extend the ones that are kind of right in front of where the rover is going to drive because we don't want to break them. But next part, we're going to go ahead and hop our Kerbal out, our pilot, and he's going to hop into the driver's seat. Eject that, or extend that ladder, give him a little more leeway down here. Guess we don't really need it. We can get to that seat from here. In we go. Decoupled. And we're going to get ready to go ahead and start driving this thing out. We're going to go collect some samples and kind of test some things. You see that little hop there? I was engaging my engines, trying to see how level this thing would stay. And that was one of the problems I had, was keeping it flat. What I should have done, or what I should have done here, is limited the thrust in the back two engines there, and probably on the front right, and keep it. I think what's going on is it's tilting forward because it's lighter on the front, and to the right because my Kerbal's in the right seat. If I had just centered a single seat, that would have been good, or had two Kerbals, that would have helped even it out. But I didn't really plan ahead for that. It's still something we could fix with this design, but it would take some planning and some testing. And with physical time warp here, it makes turning and keeping these things level without like popping and rolling actually pretty easy, which is kind of nice. I tried to keep the Chatterer mod down here a bit, though that's a little loud. Sorry about that, because it is kind of annoying when you time warp this thing. I really like how it sounds in game, like when you're playing and you're at normal speed. It sounds great. It's great atmosphere. But when you're recording and actually doing this stuff in fast forward, it's a little tedious to listen to. Not a big deal though. Getting ready to take some samples now. Unfortunately, the other thing I noticed while doing this is that the rover seats here do not collect samples, so like you can't deposit rock samples. So if I'm holding a rock sample on my Kerbal, I can't grab another one from another biome. So I ended up having to turn around here and just coming back because I was like, well, this is useless. I can't get any more data because I can't store it in this vessel. What I could do is run it back to the launch vessel here every time. But where's the fun in that? I built a rover so it could go out and explore. So we'll need to put a different type of module on a rover. Seats are fine, but we need something to store science in. But we're coming on back here and trying to avoid smashing into rocks. This thing is just, we're at like 3 times physical time warp, and we start sliding down this hillside here because it's too steep, and I don't have enough traction. What I could have done and should have done is turned off time warp while I had myself kind of either facing directly retrograde or prograde, so I didn't kind of catch the wheels and flip, but it should have given me more traction in the same way that when you're going forward, you can kind of slide and glide and drift like I have been in this video so far. It's because the traction doesn't play the same way when you're in physical time warp. Whoa! Almost popped tires there both times. But we are back here at the lander, and we're going to do our best to use these rockets to try to dock ourselves back onto the ship to store our science. That was the idea anyway. I guess we don't really have to do it to store our science, but I was going to dock it so that it doesn't roll away, so I don't have to like leave the brakes on or something like that. Now, I almost made it, but I tipped us over. So our Kerbal had to jump out. He was fine. Unfortunately, I didn't break anything, but unfortunately it's kind of stuck as it is. I may be able to use this lander to possibly kind of like maybe like use a leg to push it over, or adjust the rockets so that maybe I can roll it. But it's really tricky, and I don't really take the time to even try at this point. We just basically kind of put him back into this command module and turned off our rockets so that we're not going anywhere. And we're going to be extending the last of our solar panels to make sure we have good solar generation here for electricity, and pretty much calling it good on this episode. Sorry we didn't get anything complete. We may have to send out a rescue mission, or at least some sort of a rescue craft for this rover. Something a little better for managing this. But until next time, guys, thanks for watching. Cheers!